Hello and welcome to our Logistics Roundtable discussion. I'm joined with Andy,
Hello.
and we're going to be discussing the intricacies of supply chain management and the challenges faced by the logistics industry.
I think intricacies is the optimal word, Daniel. I think you picked a good word because at the end of the day, moving freight, it's not like booking an Uber. It's a lot more than just getting something from point A to point B. It is ultimately about how we do it. And I think you can kind of sum it up by saying right place, right time, and ultimately right cost as well.
It really is like a global market, right? And because of that, it's so connected. Everything in this world is so interconnected, and therefore we need to rely on delivery, transportation, warehousing, and distribution. There's just so many moving pieces that people aren't sort of realizing with logistics that we need to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sustainability is another key theme of how we adapt our supply chains in the modern era to be more resilient. And sustainability comes in multiple forms, social, environmental. You obviously want to do the right thing, but also building a operationally sustainable supply chain that is resilient in the face of challenges, resilient in the face of stockouts and all these different challenges.
Yeah, I think resilience is a great word. Data is a huge factor in logistics today,
Yeah.
and therefore it's very crucial for us to be always focused on data privacy and making sure that the customers can trust us because security is so important in today's age.
Absolutely. And I think if you're an IT or business analytics, data analytics professional, logistics is one of the most lucrative industries right now, just because of the complexity, all the different moving parts, all the different parties involved. There's obviously information security aspects to that, and then data analytics as well. It's not just about collecting all the data, anybody can do that. Any operation can be set up to do that, but it's about deciphering it, sifting through what you don't need, understanding what you can discern from that data, and then ultimately, at the end of the day, building an action plan based on the findings.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's where technology really steps in. This is the age of technology more so than ever before. Automation, drone technology, drone delivering, AI is the huge craze at this stage. And we're always having to find out ways that we can use AI and all other new technology to make the customer's experience as best and as efficient as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And it comes in so many different forms too, like leveraging technology in a transportation and supply chain space. And I think there's kind of two different ways to go about it. There's really long-term pie in the sky thinking that you still have to have to, you need to set high goals and really be keen on revolutionizing how we do this, but also leveraging the tech we have available to, in the here and now, optimize how we move products from A to B. And I think route optimization is a byproduct of collecting all this data, right? You can really understand how do we drive costs out of the network? How can we pair up an inbound and an outbound load based on what kind of company you are and the scope of your operation? And then you mentioned drones and things like that. Having worked for a retailer and managed the transportation side, I can tell you I would really love if we could get rid of traffic as an excuse for missed on time pickups and
Right.
deliveries. So maybe one day.
Yeah, like you said, that's actually such a good point that we're always like looking ahead because technology is moving so fast, but we need to take into account what technology is actually current and making sure that we're optimizing the use of that.
Hmm.
Technology can only get us so far. I think it's very important for us to remember that there's still people
Yes.
behind each logistics company and are moving all the shipments. And I think it's important to have that human touch and that personability because technology is always going to have its faults and you're always going to need that problem solvers, which are
Hmm.
us. And that passion, you can't ever replace that passion with technology. So having humans handle your goods will always make sure that the goods are moved properly.
Yeah, well said. Because I think a minute ago you touched on trust in the process, particularly kind of in an IT information security
Mhm.
context, but really being able to trust who you go into business with, who you enter into a partnership with, cross organizationally, cross functionally. And you have to be able to rely in a supply chain context on the fact that whoever you're working with, they will do what they say they're going to do ultimately. It's such a key foundation that all of this has to be based on because communication can make or break entire businesses sometimes, certainly segments of the business
Oh, yeah,
in this
definitely.
space. It's what makes it all work at the end of the day.
Yeah, communication, logistics isn't just one piece. There's like so many factors, the shipping lines, overseas agents.
Yeah.
But that's where transparency is so important, to have someone that's going to keep the finger on the pulse and let you know what's happening with your cargo. That sort of transparency and visibility is so key.
Yep, absolutely. I think whether you're a freight forwarder, 3PL, even a direct transportation provider, right? And kind of like tying this again with data and all this data we're collecting and analyzing it, we have to be willing to share information with our key partners. When you think about origin transportation providers, customs brokers, you might have consolidation parties, airlines, sea freight, brokers and forwarders and whatnot. That's a lot of people involved in a process. And if you think about it from the perspective of someone who is just trying to like, I don't know, bring a pallet of their food and beverage product from overseas and get it on the shelves here, in theory, that should be simple. You'd like to know, oh, where is my product? But with all this stuff going on behind the scenes, having good partners who are willing to share their information and ultimately not just share product visibility or shipment visibility, but say, hey, we are seeing this about your supply and availability of product, or this about your demand, or actually we think we could save you money by optimizing your routing in this way. Having partners who are willing to engage to that level, it's so key, and it's more important than ever, frankly.
Yeah, it is so important. Goods don't teleport from one place to another. There's
Sure
such
don't.
a big team and so many moving pieces. Like you said, just the difference between air freight and sea freight alone is just endless. Andy, I really appreciated this conversation. We hope that everyone watching this, whether you're interested in moving goods, whether you're just interested in logistics in general, that you found some insights into just how complicated this process is and how important data is, technology, and people are to this whole process.